Yo. So, that'll be a few seconds before we officially get started. But can y'all hear me? This is a little sound check. You know what I mean? Let me know in the comment section. Still waiting on pod. I know they're running late, so we'll give them a second. But I wanted y'all to know that I'm here regardless. So we're talking about this regardless. But just give it a second. You know what I mean? So yeah. How's everybody doing today? Okay, cool. So yeah. I don't know what's up with this. Oh, here it goes. Turn the music down a little bit. All right, good. Two. It almost jams a little bit. It does sound like church music, right? It sounds like church music. Oh, we about to turn it down. About to turn my mic up a little bit too. Let's see. I can hear myself now, so that must be good. Am I like the sound, the voice of God right now? Ooh. All right, I'm remember how I'm still getting used to figuring out how to turn this up and down and all that good stuff. Brand, that's how I do it. Usually I do this reducing of the music before I start talking. But I want people to know that we're actually going to be here. It's not just a background. Yeah. How y'all doing? How's everybody doing today? Let me know. We're still waiting on Posh. I know they have some things going on, so we'll see how long it takes. You know what I mean? But we can start talking right now if you feel like it. You know what I mean? How's everybody's weekend been? Y'all been turning up? You know what I mean? Hopefully not catching COVID, avoiding that. Because I know it's definitely been a big outbreak, right? So, man. See, I keep trying to adjust my camera to see where it is, but no matter what, I feel like I'm looking down. I have to be like way up here to look like I'm actually looking at y'all. You know what I mean? That's why if I look off to a different direction, like I'm looking right now, I'm actually looking at the screen, and that's why I'm looking at you like chatting and stuff. But yeah. Woo. Did anybody get to peep the FD signifier conversation? You know what I mean? I know I'm just BSing right now because we haven't gotten the topic yet, but we will get to it. Don't worry. Yeah. What y'all think of that conversation? Let me know. Texting them right now to see timing. I know they'd be a busy being, so. Shoot. Yo. So, man, this stream is never as popular when Posh ain't here. I mean, I've only had it one time, but you know. So hopefully they don't nothing that came up or anything. Oh, yeah. All right. Guess who's just making the appearance? Let me see if they're ready. Real quick. Oh. But yeah, man. So at the moment, I remember almost nothing, but that didn't happen at the last 10 minutes. I know. This is what streaming is like. Everything comes in last minute, last second. So I feel y'all. All right. Now everybody, make sure to welcome the co-host, the dope, the ambitious, the revolutionary Posh.
Hello. Wow, that was an intro that I needed today. So thank you. Yes, I needed that gas up here. I've been jamming to Mark Ruble the last 24 hours and I'm doing my own festival at my house because that's what's safe. So, hello everybody. Are we ready to talk about asexuality? I'm so ready. I know I apologize. I know we've been out for a couple of weeks, a little on and off. I've been gone. Life happens, y'all. Y'all know what world we're living in, but we're back.
Man, Yeah, life happen and it'd be crazy. Maybe wild. It'd be wild. We trying to have it like a steady groove, but when you're out here actually doing things, sometimes stuff just throws curveballs at you. You know what I mean? So, oh, and I hit the mic. Oh, don't do that.
Are you in like what is this setup? You got like real. Are you in a studio?
I mean, this is my same setup. I just brought the mic closer. Usually I have the mic off screen. So, but I've been trying to play with the vibes and the energy of my voice. You know what I mean? So someone's playing a little closer, turn the sound up a little bit, trying to get that good little, hallelujah vibe. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh no, I'm like this setup. Maybe I need to change mine. Bring my little mic in. I got a little stand now since we've been like looping music and stuff. I like it.
I appreciate it. I always wanted to, I guess I'm streaming a lot now, but I've always wanted to avoid the streamer look, so I always kept it off camera. But I'm like, all right, well, it just sounds so much better.
It's giving me producer looks, not streamer looks, because you're not doing, we're not doing the whole bisexual lighting. Like it looks like you got work going on in the background. Like it's giving me like producer looks. See,
I might be bi, but I don't do the bisexual lighting. I do straight commie lighting. I need to get more gels, but if I do, it's just gonna be straight red in the background. You know what I mean?
Look, I did it for part of my documentary, but it was like more as a joke. Like after the scene where I did it, I was like, did I do the bisexual lighting right? Because when like those whole jokes about like bisexual lighting or bisexual sitting, which apparently I'm doing right now. Like they're just funny. They're fucking hilarious to me. Like it just is funny to me because I'm like, I don't know. It's funny. It's just funny to me.
I mean, I get the bisexual lighting idea concept when like people be saying that because it's like blue and red. Blue, blue, pink makes purple. You know what I mean? Which pink, to let everybody know, originally was not a color. It was a shade of red. But hey,
drop them
they had to make it masculinity and femininity, so they blue, pink. It used to be the opposite. It used to be pink and blue. Pink was male, masculine. Blue was. But that's a tangent.
Men wore heels first. Like we could go through the whole thing if you want. Like if you want to. Like I've always wanted to make a bit where it was like where it was like in modern times, but based on like how it must have been back then when men wore heels and women weren't didn't wear heels, and imagining like a husband like coming home and like catching his wife in his heels, and being like that awkward situation. I think it would be hilarious.
Oh yeah, it was like it started bringing out his bisexual tendencies. He's like, ooh, women do look good in heels. Huh? Like, you know what I mean?
Look at that, your ass be sitting up higher. I thought they only did that to me.
Shoot, man.
There's a great YouTube channel by a girl that lives, I think, in Austria, and she goes over all the history of fashion through that lens. Right, of like gender and different things like that, and it's just hilarious. She does great like hilarious little bits, and she dresses up in the outfits to show like, men actually wore this first, and this was accepted for women, and the difference between like corsets back then and corsets now, and like how much they were actually there for back support, and men also wore corsets. It's just interesting to see the evolution of the patriarchy and what we now think are acceptable gender expression standards.
I mean, it's wild because now you point that out. I'm like, yeah, back brace pretty much is a corset almost. You know what I mean? It's a little bit smaller corset. That's it. I mean, it's pretty much what it is. So that makes sense. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? You taught me something today.
Well, you taught me something today, so right back at you. All right. Did we started talking about it, or did we just introduce the topic?
Nah, I was just warming everybody up. You know what I mean? So I was happy to get it started. Let people know that we actually gonna be here. I know we missed last week, but we ain't falling off. Don't worry.
It's the worship service in the beginning. Give you some time to get in. We know people be late sometimes. You know how Black church be sometimes.
That's why I like this music, is because it be having like a little slight hip hop swagger, but a heavy church swagger. So it's like little mix. Like, hey, I'm coming in.
Last night, we were goofing around with some music and like the mic with some friends, and I started going on a rant. As I do. And I didn't know that my fiance had this skill, by the way. So you should talk to your people that even in your life, because there's probably things you didn't even know they could do. And I've been with this person for 5 years. And this man came up behind me and straight up gave me Black church organ backgrounds as I was ranting, and dun, dun, all that with the organ. And I was like, you mean to tell me you've been this whole time you could have been giving me church organs behind my rants, and you've been holding out on me? I was so mad. So we might have to put together a little something where we can do some little live. We can do a little rant, and I'll have my fiance give us some church organs.
Oh shit! Man,
all right. I'm glad we know how to set a vibe. Thank you. That's a good compliment. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I do want to say, I want to have the conversation be asexual and aromantic, because I feel like it's a really interesting conversation. I feel like a lot of people don't know about aromantic at all, and how it's not asexual, and vice versa. Asexual people can be very romantic and be very much looking for partnership, but be asexual, you know what I mean? And aromantic people can be very much into sex and not looking for romance. Or you can be on the spectrum, like some of us are.
Yeah, I like to say it's almost always on a spectrum.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, because personally, for me, I identify as I'm on the spectrum of aromantic, but I'm not full out aromantic. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's levels of the shit, and I'm I'm definitely in the middle of that. And then as far as sexuality, I fluctuate between asexual and hypersexual, which is, it depends on time in life. So that's been my experience with it. But even me, as going through those things, don't completely understand them myself. So I feel like it's gonna be a great conversation, especially I think you have a little bit more knowledge on it than I do. So
yeah, I've identified as asexual for probably about a decade now. For me, it's very much rooted in I didn't really get there weren't really acceptable words for these things to understand them. But again, I've been pushed into a lot of performative femininity. I've been a stripper, a sex worker. Having to perform femininity was a big aspect of my life, and that also percolates into where your value lies within a relationship, bringing sex to the relationship as a woman. And so sex to me was very much in a lot of my past relationships a performance I did so my man don't leave me. That was and yes, I was enjoying it. I know people might hear that and be like, what, you were just fake? And I'm like, no, I wasn't fake. I was enjoying it, but it wasn't it's not the sex I'm having now. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Let's just say that. Okay. And so that very much kind of understanding asexuality very much helped me understand my own identity of being I love humans. I love the human body. I love to flirt. I was a big makeout slut when I was younger. And I love to tease. But then getting to the actual sex part, all of a sudden it's there's a wide group of people that I would love doing all those other things with. And then when we get down to the intercourse, that intimate part, it's oh, there's only a very few people. I may drool over somebody in everyday life, oh my God, that doesn't mean I want to fuck them. And I think that's kind of something that people get kind of a concept that people get confused of I'm attracted to this person, that means I want to fuck them. And it's well, there's all sorts of types of attraction. There's some people I get attracted to because I'm I just want to be in your circle of people. I don't need to fuck you. I just want you to think I'm cool and us to be friends, right? Or some people I'm attracted to because there's something I can help them with. Hey, I think you're dope. Can I help you with this thing? Support you on this thing, right? Or I think you're dope. I want to be friends, right? But as far as physical attraction, there's not a lot of people that's just, you're so attractive, I just want to fuck. That's just not a thing. You have to, I actually don't really care what your body looks like. You gotta get in here. If you don't arouse this, then nothing's getting aroused. And so kind of having an understanding of that asexuality is even on a spectrum, so I can understand my own, because it's not I don't people think of asexuality as just no sex at all, right? And then they're trying to understand how are you a sex worker? How are you a stripper, right? And it's well, no, that's not what it is. We have sorry, my fucking camera's not focusing. We have a a correct understanding of how those things are defined, because they're defined by capitalism and the colonizer.
Facts. And it is interesting the way you described it too, because I was like, I'm like the inverse of that. Like, as me, that's the way I am. I'm aromantically, specifically when I'm like, there, you really have to like hit all these points. Like, my bar for like romantically being interested in somebody is super high, versus my bar for sexually being attracted to somebody is like way more broad. I said broad. Like, it's like a way more broad spectrum. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things you can hit. It could be just purely your looks, physical, which don't get you very far with me, but sexually, like, okay, cool. I might want to have sex. Cool. But it also could be like just certain traits, personality wise, could be a million different things, right? So it's much broader. But then I also do have those fluctuations, right, where I'm like really broad and really wanting to have sexual interactions with somebody, but then I'll squeeze in, which is kind of what I mean by that flux thing. But romantic, you have to like, it's so hard for me to want to like be with somebody. You know what I mean? I'm not really gonna be like, oh, I want to be this romantic, have these romantic feelings for somebody. And even at that, the way it looks for me is much different than the average Joe, right? Like, I don't like the trappings of romance. I don't like a lot of the things that come in the concept, versus I'm looking for a road dog that I can trust, that I fuck with, which it does have some elements of romantic relationships in it, but it probably for a lot of people would look like a best friend you have sex with. You know what I mean? But it's because
is that not what a romantic relationship is?
No, there's a lot more trappings to it. You know what I mean? People want these specific types of feelings that come along with like romance that I give no shits about. Like, and I'm not interested in.
Just so I can understand, can we maybe define what you mean by romance? Are we talking about romance like being wooed and being romantic?
That's a piece of it, but it's not just that. The part when people say, "Oh, romantic," it means having the intimate relationship, right? And so like for average person, for one, I don't even want an intimate relationship like that with them in those type of romantic intimacy, right? But like so like I'm not gonna want to date now. I'm not gonna want to like now. If you want to, well, I probably could see that if I actually want to be with you, sure. But it's a good session. It's like, okay, but there's all these things that like make the feeling of a relationship that I have zero interest in. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that. Like, it took a while for me to learn that. And also, I have people that I've been with the aromantic that are more aromantic than me, so they're more extreme on that. And so there's like literally just friends that fuck. You know what I mean? Versus there's like, you know what I mean? So there's different levels of that, but like,
yeah, no, I guess maybe I need to redefine. I don't know. To me, that's what a romantic relationship is like. That's the difference to me between my romantic relationship and my friendships. Like, I love them with the same type of love. I have intimate times with my close friends, not sexually intimate, but intimacy with my close friends. The difference between like my fiance and like a play partner and a best friend is the sex to me. So yeah. I'm not a romantic person. Like, I'm not necessarily a wooer, or someone who is really like, when it comes to romance necessarily. I'm a doer. I'm like, when you're saying like, I want a partner that is like gonna ride or die, like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want too. Like, so again, sometimes we get hung up on terminology, and I think it's good to have these things to be able to identify and communicate our identities. Sometimes I just be getting confused. I'd be getting confused of like, okay, so what does this mean now in this current society? And then also, do I need to redefine? Because the way you're explaining relationships is very similar. Like, I maybe I didn't know I was aromantic, but like the people I want to have sex with is about the same amount. Like, it's a Venn diagram that is not very is very much overlapping of like, for me to want to have sex with you, I probably need to have romantic feelings, but I get romantic feelings by becoming best friends with somebody. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know how to label that. I actually also don't care, but that's just how it's worked in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like for me, romantically, if there is anything, is friendship comes first. But I think there's other components of like they said relationships are complex, right? So like hard to define. I think that's the same thing. It's hard to define those things, but there are definitely certain expectations I can visually see and notice that like and have experience from other people they expected of me as far as romance and generally people respect of each other that I just don't share. However, for some people, it's even more like that's why I say there's a spectrum because I'm not all the way over there because I have a former partner who was they're very much like they don't want anything besides friends, and they have friends that are sexually attracted to and they have sex with, and they have friends that they don't, but they don't even have anything more than that at all. Versus me, I want to find somebody who's worthy of having that attachment, but even within that attachment, it doesn't go the same way as it would, not just worthy, but worthy and compatible. So like, you know what I mean? Because some people just aren't worthy, and some people are worthy but not compatible. You feel me? So it's like, yes, I know I'm not talking about like a hierarchy when I say worthy, but like, if you're not loyal and want to have my back, you're not worthy. That's just what it is.
Your relationship. We're not talking about people being worthy in general, but like,
yeah. I mean, so the thing of like, so it's just, I mean, there's just like I said, the spectrum because I'm not all the way to completely aromantic is what I realized after having the partner who was like completely aromantic, not all asexual. Neither one of us were asexual at that moment, but.
Can you maybe share what that was like? What a partner who was completely like, what was the difference between a partner who was completely aromantic and a partner that wasn't? Like, how they acted or how they behaved in the relationship.
Well, the idea of having a romantic connection at all, like a relationship that would be a romantic relationship, did not appeal to them at all. In fact, we started going that direction, and they're like pulled back because like, no, I don't like that, and then we were looking more for the sexual relationship.
Like what were the things that they said, this makes me feel like romance?
For them, like, you know, some of the tenderness, because I still be tender if I connect with you, you know what I mean? I like cuddling, I like touching, I like exploring bodies. I think some of that was part of it. Like they liked it, but they didn't like it because the connection that was coming from it was, I think, more what they didn't like versus the actual touch. But for me, that connection is just can equivocate to still being friends, right? But you know, it's just but again, there's like a spectrum, so it's like hard because even as someone who's only like so far on the spectrum aromantic versus my partner who was like my former partner way further, for example, also that we started to kind of call each other partner for a second made them uncomfortable. Even that, like, you know what I mean, that we started calling each other partner for a second made them uncomfortable after they sat back and thought about it, you know what I mean? So like there was like little things like that where it was like they wanted to more just have sex and be friends, and they want that generally with everybody is how they want it versus like being seen as a partnership or a relationship in that type of way. Now again, it's really hard because like I'm still like learning myself. This isn't like I'm an expert on this, but I know I'm only knowing by experiencing with other people and realizing like, okay, I don't necessarily fit here, or I don't necessarily fit here, but I'm not all the way over here either. So like trying to figure out like, so still for me exploring process.
Yeah.
But
I'm just connecting with, again, I teach classes on communication and intimacy and relationships within kink and stuff like that, and so that's why I was asking for like what let's define this. Defining terminology. I have a video about it. Okay, really important for communication because like someone said tenderness, that makes sense. Like that actually explained a lot because I'm going to say, I'm not saying this is what's going on in your situation. I'm going to use that situation as a general example for everyone. In that situation, that to me does not seem like friendship and sex. That seems to me like someone who is scared of intimacy, because intimacy you have whether you are friends or you're fucking. Intimacy is part of all relationships. Intimacy is the space in which you are vulnerable with another person and you feel safe, which you can have with someone you're fucking, someone you're romantic with, or someone that you're like, you can do that with anybody, right?
True. What I would say is there's types of intimacy though too.
There are types of intimacy. I'm just saying the example you showed me, right, that you gave there, a lot of like relationship coach would not look at that and be like, oh, that's a romance. We would say that is a fear of intimacy, because you should be able to be tender with your friends.
And here's the thing: is as friends, they are as friends. See what I'm saying? Like, but there's a certain level of it that it crosses that are like, you know what I mean? That they were not, you know what I mean, down with, you know what I mean? And so, and it's not like they weren't down with in the moment, but like when they reflect,
right?
What?
But you fuck.
We were fucking around. We never actually got to that point. We were fucking around. I ended up leaving before we actually hooked up on. So like we were messing around. We were doing some things. Don't even know all the details, but
because I don't want people to think I'm not critiquing your situation. I'm just trying to use that example for other people. If you are fucking somebody, and then also friends with them, right? And the intimacy part of that, because you can be friends with someone and you can be fucking them and not having any intimacy. Right. And a lot of people are doing that and thinking that they're having intimacy and a real connection, and you're not. You're just bumping boots. You are just getting a Band-Aid on your giant fucking stab wound of needing human connection. And that is why a lot of people's sex and relationships feel empty as fuck right now. Because there is no intimacy, and we've got 5,000 different books that will give you a logical reason on why you don't need that to have a relationship, but then everyone's upset that their relationships feel empty and are failing.
Look, but here's the thing.
I don't need to be argued about this.
I'm not arguing. No. I'm not arguing. You won't even think I'm arguing when you hear what I say. Don't worry.
You know we fuck with each other.
Here's the thing: is people in monogamous relationships are in the position you're talking about. All these people, and that's why shit's fucking failing, is because they're in monogamous relationships, not in poly, but monogamous relationships, looking for this thing that they're not even giving to, and they're doing exactly what you just said while being in monogamous. That's just toxic space to be in. I feel like there's a whole other live stream we could do on that, but
it's going off into other topics. Yes, I've expanded out into other topics, but we anarchists, like at the core, that's why we're here. And I just want to let people know, like, this is why your relationships suck. This is why you feel alone, even though you have 8 friends and you have 2 boyfriends or whatever else you got going on. Because you are making surface level connections with humans, but it's like eating candy there's nothing but sugar every single day that has no nutrients. And you're going to get sick and you're never going to feel satisfied. Being poly is healthy, but also being toxically poly is not. So if you are going to be poly, if you've been monogamous your entire life and you decide that you would like to change into being poly, or you and your partner change to being poly, and you don't take a class on how to be poly, then I'm assuming that you just want to destroy other people's lives and break people's hearts, because that is irresponsible and cruel, to be honest, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you've been raised in a society that's toxic, patriarchal, controlling, narcissistic, and abusive. And if you think you're going to take all of those learned behaviors for 30 fucking years and then create a successful relationship with multiple people when you've never had a successful monogamous one, you are fucking kidding yourself. Sorry, I feel very passionate about this, because after you have these failed polyamorous relationships, Posh has to spend a bunch of time healing all the people you fucked up. And so I don't like to have to do that. So if we could not do that, that would be great, people. So please be polyamorous, but please do it consensually, healthy, and stop thinking you know everything when you've never done it before.
Okay, if you cheat, you're not poly if you're cheating. If everybody doesn't know you're poly, you're not poly. Now, I'm not the one that's going to get in here and police your relationships. If you cheat on your partner, that's between you, them, and all y'all's friends, because your friends are going to be up in it. You know they are.
Yeah, so, and unfortunately, I'm one of those people, even when I'm not your friend, because I am a leader within the kink community. So when y'all fuck up, people come to me because they're like, what's going on here? And then I have to go have dude bro conversations with grown men being like, dude, you could have just told the truth. And instead now you're cheating and wasting my time. So Posh is clearly triggered. This has clearly happened to me multiple times. Please save my heart and soul through this revolution and do poly right. Trust me, it's worth it.
See, and maybe that's where more of the aromantic side comes in, because I'm just rolling my eyes at everybody. I'm like, oh my god, y'all.
So am I. So am I, VP. But I unfortunately am a person who, if someone needs me for something and I have knowledge, I'm gonna help. I wish I could just sit back and roll my eyes and be like, well, I told you so, but I can't because I'm
no. So I'm not that mean. I'll give you a hug and be like, oh, I'm sorry that happened. And if you're the one who got cheated on, like, you just gotta leave, move on. You can find someone better. Boom. That's it. But in my head, I'm like, come on, just like, I know that hurts. Fuck that nigga. Keep pushing. You know what I mean? Even if that nigga's my friend, fuck him. Keep pushing. Y'all aren't compatible. He needs to figure shit out. And with the other motherfucker, I'm like, you should have. You sabotage your relationship. You can't boo-hoo about it now because it's over because you fucked it up.
Well, like, I said that shit to the people. They're like, look, that was all you, okay? I'm gonna tell you because I love you and you're my friend. But like, If we weren't friends, I'd be on the other person's side. Like, I've definitely told that to friends before. I think, like, I wanted to point out this. It sounds like being poly requires a lot of communication skills. Just so you know, everybody, having relationships with people require a lot of communication skills in general. It's not just romantic ones. A lot of you suck at communicating to your friends, to your teachers, to your bosses, to your kids. A lot of you suck at it. As someone who teaches it and has been studying this for years, we collectively kind of suck at communicating effectively. I have a whole part, like my video essay that is I'm still working on because new information be coming and I need to add it. But has a whole part breaking this down on what communication actually looks like and how we can effectively communicate. But it's not being poly that requires communication. Any relationship with other humans requires effective, clear, comprehended communication. And if your relationships are not doing very well, I guarantee you that's the root and foundation of a lot of those problems. As someone who has taught this and mentored relationships, half the time, the thing they're arguing about, they're literally saying the same thing. They're just miscommunicating. They mean the same thing in their soul. They agree. They're not actually fighting. But the things coming out of their mouth is not communicating actually how they feel. And so they've been fighting for 6 months over this and it's literally just because of communication. And that makes me sad in my soul, because that's part of love, is communicating and knowing the other person understand what you communicated.
Oh, because that's what I was about to say. I don't think I was going to push back a tiny bit, and it was just like, because I don't think because as someone who's a horrible communicator, I'm a horrible communicator. You know, I might talk a lot, but sometimes like it doesn't mean you're a good communicator.
You're not a horrible communicator. Again, we're all not that great at communicating because of the society we live in. And some people feel more comfortable, because if you were a horrible communicator, we wouldn't talk as much as we do and actually talk about similar topics. You can communicate. It's just, what are we communicating about, right? I could talk to you about things I know over and over again and fine, and just blah, blah. But if we want to get into some of like my trauma or my family history, you're probably going to get some moments where I choke up, or I don't know how to say it, or I fumble over my words, right? So oftentimes we do know how to communicate simply, or the way capitalism wants us to, by saying what the other person wants to hear oftentimes, and not actually what we mean and what is true. And that's one reason why y'all like us talking together, because me and BP are going to tell you exactly what the fuck is true and what we're feeling right there. That's who the fuck we are, right? And that's one reason why people are even drawn to this content, to anarchism, to people on the left, is because they're being told a lot of bullshit, a lot of fake shit a lot of the times, and not deciphering the communication. And we're trying to give you straight, blunt, this is it.
Well, Patch, well, I want to finish what I was trying to point out. What I was saying is that the other component of what I was saying was, I'm not the greatest communicator, especially like relationship wise and intimate stuff sometimes, but you can also get around that by trying to communicate the best you can up front, and then also being able to be understanding of each other. If you're bad communicators, this is where the communication comes in. Communicate that up front, and if y'all both bad communicators, but you're both very understanding people, that shit can work. Like, I'm gonna be a buck with you. That shit can work, because y'all be like patient, because you know you need patience. And so you're like, okay, let me be patient and understand, because I know I need patience, because I'll be saying some stupid shit sometimes. The essence of what I'm saying is stupid, but the way I say it's dumb and comes across all fucked up, so everybody's upset with me, and I'm like, that's not what I meant. It's not what I meant.
No, it's not even that it comes off stupid. It just comes off as the truth. And a lot of people sometimes don't want to hear that. Like, as someone who has gotten that many times in my life, where I just say a statement and everyone's just like, well, goddamn. And like, people walk out the room and someone's crying. And I'm like, well, I just thought I said what was happening. like I wasn't even trying to hurt no one's feelings.
That stuff happens. That's fine. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't like, if I just told you the truth and you don't like it, well, that's you got to figure that out. That's your baggage to figure out, not mine. But the thing is when it's more so when I'm literally saying something else and it comes across as something else. But that's where understanding comes in. It's like, because then when I can say, no, it's not what I meant, understanding would be like, okay, well, can you explain it better? Versus like, no, of course, you're just trying to backtrack. And you're like, no, I literally, that's not what I meant. Literally, I actually didn't mean that.
That's not good faith. Everything BP just said, actually, just so everyone knows, that is the short TikTok version of my communication class. So if you do the two things he just mentioned, which is communicate up front and have understanding, then you're a better communicator automatically. That makes you a good communicator, because those are the two things that a lot of people ain't doing. Like, a lot of people ain't doing. And I'm gonna give you an example, especially for my femmes, although I know men do this too, because I have male friends. Have you ever had somebody have a situation with a person in your friend group, right? And they go talk to every other person in the friend group about the situation except the person they actually are having a problem with. We've all been there.
I love those. Oh,
and
God.
It happens so often. And I figured it out at a young age in my early 20s, where when my friends when they come to me, my first question would be, well, have you talked to that person about it yet? And if they hadn't, most of the time I would tell them, well, you should probably go talk to them first, because this doesn't have anything to do with me in particular. And that goes back to our comfortableness with communicating to other people how we really feel. And I'm going to emphasize on this because this is what capitalism. I do a lot of research and philosophizing. I have not done my video essay to share all this information that I've been putting together, but this is part of what capitalism is stealing from us. It steals your humanity. It steals who you are. And if you need to know who you are and have humanity to be able to have relationships with people, well, it's going to be very difficult. And you will see the relationship landscape that we have right now, the manosphere, people identifying with certain identities because that's socially acceptable for where they are in their life, not necessarily that that's their identity. Okay. The most beautiful thing about you as a human is you. That's the most beautiful thing that you bring to a relationship is you. It's not your job. It's not your status, your family name, class, Creighton Black Excellence, whatever. It's you. It's just you, who you are. And if the people in your life that you're in relationships with don't just love you, even when you're not the best you, well, then I wouldn't put a lot of energy into that relationship in general. Especially when we in the end times, okay? This is the end game. This is the end game. So it's, to me, let's not waste time having fake relationships with people who don't actually care about us, and let's communicate effectively. In kink, we talk about communication a lot because we got to have a bunch of conversations so that I can consensually hurt you. Like, that's the difference between me being a psychopathic sadist who is abusing people and being a ethical, consensual femdom, is long conversations where you have to be able to tell me bluntly, I like paddles on my butthole. And if you can't say that, then I can't give it to you, because we can't negotiate to consent for that, right? And this is one reason why when I got into kink, I immediately had to get into, how the fuck do you communicate with people? Because I need to know what I can and cannot do so I don't cause any harm and have consent violations when it comes to kink. So just to give you a little background, that's why this is very important to me. And kind of going back to the main topic, if you're asexual, if you're aromantic, it is your responsibility to communicate that to people in the beginning of your relationship, not after a bunch of dates and they're already interested, they're already engaged. In the day one, you have to let them know, okay? Big things. I don't want kids. I'm aromantic. I'm polyamorous. You have to tell them right from the beginning, because it's manipulation, and I've done this, I've had it done to me, to get someone into feelings with you and then flop some shit like that out, right? Oh, we've been dating or we've been hanging out. Now we want to put an official title on it. And now that I'm already in my feels, you want to flop out that like I'm polyamorous, even though I'm monogamous. That's not fair to that other person, because you've got them now attached, and now they have to make a decision on like, well, I'm going to lose them if I don't change who I am, even though that's not who I am in relationships. So communicate with people up front and you will have better relationships. So thank you, BP. I know you, I was churching while you went off on your amazing lesson of like, oh man, I have like 4 pages of notes for my class on communication, and BP just wrapped it up in like 4 sentences of being like, have understanding and communicate first, like communicate up front. Yep, do that. We can solve the manosphere in 3 sentences. BP just solved it.
Well, no. Here's the solving to the manosphere, right? For most of them. I said this on Twitter. I was like, for all them hard up niggas, like, here's the thing, man. Stop worrying about the motherfuckers that don't want you and focus on the ones that do. It's that simple. And the reason you keep strifing yourself is you turn a blind eye to anybody who might be interested in you because you're obsessed about the status symbol that you can't have. It's like, fuck, you weirdo, bro. Like, and what's these status symbols anyways? Like, you're looking for someone who's like a status symbol instead of a relationship, which is kind of weird.
Also, we're about to tear that down. So if that's what you're investing in long term, it's not going to have a return on investment. Because if we're successful, we're trying to overthrow the state, so those structures aren't going to exist anymore. So whatever status you're trying to get by relationship, it's not going to work out in the long run. Somebody said, I'm ace, I just want to cuddle and watch a movie. Yeah, I see that. See, and that's an interesting thing too. Again, just to show you the spectrum, I am ace. I don't want to cuddle. I do want to watch a movie though. like we have a joke with me and my partner. There was a TikTok with a couple, and like we'll be hanging out watching a movie, and like I will touch his toe like this, and like that's cuddling. Like, or I will like put like, because I'm not it's actually distracting to me, to be honest. Like if I'm doing a bunch of cuddling, like now I'm trying to get into like that intimate mode. And if I'm trying to watch Tenet, if I'm trying to watch an Interstellar, or if I'm trying to watch a fucking movie, Marvel, and like you're touching me like that, I can't focus.
I mean, look, I'll be real. From knowing you as long as I've known you, Posh, I would picture it just driving you crazy. You seem like the type of person that watches movies like this. Yeah, like you seem like that energy. So like, yeah, I couldn't picture that. Like I could completely just be like this and like cool, but I also don't want you to be like rubbing my chest and shit. I'm like, yo, just that's level 3 cuddling, not level 1. Okay, we lean on each other. That's cool. I'm down with that. We can just chill. But they're just trying to rub my chest and shit. I'm like, that's for when we're laying in bed, or when we're not watching it, or we're listening to music. That's a good time. You know, not movies, man. I'm trying to pay attention to it. I don't want to be distracted.
I'm a movie bum. I'm a nerd. I need to figure this out. And like this was something that I dealt with like in dating, right? Because dinner and a movie, that's what you go to. And I can't tell you how many times, you know, guys try to do their like romantic move, right, at the romantic time of the movie, and like I'm in that moment being like, am I in a movie? That's not real life. You don't try to put your arm around someone right when the sex scene's about to start in the movie. That's just, why are we doing that? And like, I never used to get like, it used to bother me so much. And I remember having a guy friend, or like maybe it was a guy friend, so talking about this, and someone being like, well, I mean, I think that's why they think you're going to the movie to like, you know, and I was like, yeah, but we're not in high school. Like we have apartments. Like I thought you wanted to go to the movie so we could have a conversation afterwards, like communicate, people. Also, if you actually pay attention to your partner, you'll know the difference. If you have a partner that wants to make out in the movies, you should know that. If you have a partner that's a psycho movie buff and has a book about Tenet and Christopher Nolan and on her fucking altar, then maybe she's serious about movies.
See, romance movies are the wrong type of movies anyways. You gotta think with the horror movies, so they're scared and they shiver together, like, you know what I mean?
I hated rom-coms anyways. Like this was always something that like I'd have guys ask me on a date and they'd be like, you want to go see How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? And I was like, no, can we go see Blade? Can we go see an action movie? Like I'm sorry. I know I dress like most girls or whatever. I look the part, but like I'm not. Like,
so yeah, that fucking around in movie theaters are definitely high school, because then you know why? You go to the boring movie after someone you already know you're gonna mess around with, so that you can be distracted away from adults. So you're like in the back, and like, but if you're a grown ass motherfucker, then
you don't have an apartment that you could actually go fuck in, like, you know, like, yeah, like you're in high school. That's the point of that. And like, to be honest, even when I was in high school, I had an older boyfriend, and I remember one time we used to go see movies, like kid movies during the day, like during the week when nobody was there, right? And we went to go see Finding Nemo, and like, he had, like, because we were the only people in the theater, right? So we, like, he was gonna like try some stuff, right? But I was so into Finding Nemo, like I was riveted. I was like, what's gonna happen to Nemo? And what's going on? I like the shark. That, like, it didn't end up happening, even though we were the only two people in the theater. Nemo was a good movie, okay?
See, movies are like only the first date back in the day, because it's the simplest way to find something y'all both like without having to put any energy forward, to be able to find a bond without having to like have to jump through hoops to find that bond, right?
Conversations. I always felt like it was a good conversation starter, but it needs to be movie and a dinner. Like, so let's meet at the movie theater, go see the movie, and then go to dinner. So we have something to talk about. So it's not so like, so you're not grabbing from topic, like from out of nowhere, being like, what do you do? What do you like? What's your favorite color? And it's like, well, if we go see this movie, then we just talk about the movie and see what happens from there. Like, so I always just thought it was in the wrong order. Go to the movie first, then go to dinner. Or go to a dungeon. I don't know. I'm not I'm not doing traditional relationships anymore. So
see, like I never liked dating, and so I never really did it very much. But like the movie was always like a horrible way to date. Generally, from my opinion, like I'm like, but like I also don't really like dating. Period. And here's the thing: is like I've told people this is gonna rub people the wrong way, but like. And don't take this wrong. It's not like you have to put out for me to take you on a date. What it is, but I do not go on dates with people I'm not fucking with already. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take you to a date to win you over. You're either going to get to know me, you're going to like me, and you're going to fuck with me. And then because we're fucking with each other, then we're going to go out on a date. Or just no. Like, it's just not. And the thing is that I've had people misunderstand the thing. Like, you have to put out, like, no, it's not that. It's that there has to be a bond that I want to nourish for me to want to take someone on a date. If that's not already there, if we haven't already built that, if we haven't actually built that relationship yet, there's no point. I'm not doing that. There's such a fucking waste of money. It's weird to me. Like,
how do you build that if you guys don't work together or don't do like?
No. Well, the thing is, like, that's how you get my interest. We build together. Like most people I've ever been with, we built together in one way or another. But like, you know what I mean? Whether we were hustling together or we're on the same block hustling.
You've been dating people you are already in some sort of relationship with. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's how I end relationships. I don't know this whole like, will you go on a date with me? And like, I don't know how to like. That's just I don't like that. I
understand,
shit.
But let's be fair. That is what like 80% of society is doing. So
even though really,
like, we maybe yeah.
That's why they fail. That's why they fail. That's one of the reasons they're failing.
Well, they're not all failing. There are absolutely people.
Only like 70 to 80% of them.
Well, but that's not because they're that. That's because of the other shit, the capitalism and the fucking racism and the patriarchy and church.
Well, what I'm saying is the dating culture is extremely hyper capitalist. Like even the things of you have to be able to go out and take this person to this, and that.
I think again, we need to define date, okay? Because I can take somebody out on a date and barely spend $10 and have them be blown off their feet. So if we need to have a live stream, if I need to have a live stream of creative anti-capitalist date ideas, maybe that's something we can do. We can do that because I got ideas out the yin yang. And if you guys would like them, you'll keep your girlfriends because the lesbians are out here stupid. No, I'm just playing. But like, there's a lot of things you can do that are not capitalist consumption. And I absolutely, like what you're saying, I absolutely understand, which is again one reason why I've thought about this, or even just as someone in kink, or as someone who, you know, wants to chase women, wants to chase femme bodies as a, you know, non-binary person. I don't do it if I don't have the money or energy. Now, not that I gotta have a bunch of money, but I gotta have some money and time to do that because no, like femme people, you all like to be chased, and you take some, like, it's some work. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the reality. No matter whether you born male or female, if you date women that are like, you understand Like, I don't know, I've had whole like discussions on this where like bisexual women, we got together and we had like a 3-hour conversation on like, why is it so hard to get a girlfriend? I don't understand. Why is it so hard? And at the end of the conversation, we came to the conclusion of, oh, this is what men have been going through. Like, that was literally what, at the end of it, I was like, you know what? If a man was in this call right now, I feel like he'd be looking at us like, yeah, that's what we've been trying to tell you. Y'all are hard. They're going to tell you no most of the time. You got to chase them and call them and text them, tell them they're pretty and bring them flowers and date. And I'm like, damn, I guess we do expect that out of y'all.
See, I'm gonna be real part. That's part of the shit I don't like. I'll be like, man, I'm not doing all that. Like you know what I mean? If I'm not worthy just because I am who I am, then fuck it. You can go find somebody.
I don't see it like that. I don't see that as me not being worthy. I see that as me. I see it as like how, you know, different animals or insects have to do like a little mating dance. Like, I see it as getting their attention and showing that I'm seriously interested in you.
Yeah,
like
but
that individual.
But
I don't necessarily see it as like, you like, oh, I'm doing these things and this is why you like me. Like, you've got to already show interest in me as a human for me to even get to that place of wanting to woo you.
Sure. And the thing is, but here, I'm not going to be doing all these grandiose things to show you that I want to be with you. I'm going to show some grandiose things, or not grandiose, but do all these things because I show I appreciate you after we've already built that. You see what I'm saying?
I understand. I get it. But I'm just, as someone who is a woman who's dated, we don't know you're interested. We don't know you're serious if it doesn't happen in the beginning. You have to give you have to do something. You have to show something in the beginning. Maybe you've been blessed enough that you've had a lot of friendships or people you've already been friends with that have turned into relationships, but I don't think that's most people's experience. Like, I'm sure people have experienced that, but I don't think that's the most common experience.
So you're saying that's what you're telling me is that's the reason why all my relationships have started that way, is what you're really saying.
Yes. I'm saying that you get what you put out. If that's what you are looking for, then that's what you will find. If that's what you're putting out, then that's what you'll find. And that's what you'll get. If that's what you want, then that's what you want. Like, I'm not judging either way. I'm just letting you know how people work.
I'm just trolling you. You guys. You don't know my trolling yet?
But you don't know when I'm trolling you either. We still figured each other out. You know, we like to playfully argue.
I see, and the flip the switch was in DC. The go to a first date is coffee, and what I was going to say to that is I don't drink coffee, motherfucker. I'm not trying to go to that date. Man, I'm gonna be here with the chai tea, and he's like, "Why aren't you drinking coffee?" No.
Well, I mean, okay, but you're still gonna go and get a drink, right?
I know I'm playing. I'm trolling. Goddamn. Can I troll a little bit?
There was another comment in here that I wanted to, somebody said, crazy idea, what if we just actually watch the movie? And I'm like, verbatim words I have said to people. Sometimes I feel like Jaden Animations, why are none of you attractive? Sometimes I feel like Jaden Animations, why are none of you attractive when meeting new people? This is no hate, but I have felt that. And I think that, again, that can go back to asexuality and being aromantic, is like, you be in situations where you're like, man, the mating game of American capitalism and patriarchy is happening right here, and I'm not attracted to anybody. Because being attractive is unique to the person who's observing that. There are people that I find attractive that other people don't find attractive, and vice versa. And a fun little social thing, I don't remember the study, but it has been studied. Oftentimes in not necessarily in a situation, but just in life, the people that we think are 10s, that we're like that 10, right? Most of the time, they are not most other people's 10s.
Facts.
They're not most other people's 10s, but we don't go for them because we think they are a 10, right? And sometimes we don't think we're worthy of the 10. So we go for the 7 that we think we can get. But guess what? The 7 is typically everybody's 7. And so everybody in that social group or tribe or whatever is going on is now going for the same people. And if they would go for their 10s, we wouldn't be fighting as much over people in relationships, because you'd be like, oh, that's my 10, and everyone's else like, I'm not necessarily seeing what you see in that person, instead of ever being at all 7 dudes in your social group being like, I want to date that one.
So
fun fact about how humans work: go for your 10, okay? You'll be happier.
See, I don't like. Here's the thing: is I don't know if I guess I have 10. I don't know. I don't know if I have 10 or if I do. Like, I have people that I think are super attractive, but a lot of times it's not. It's very rarely the stereotypical person, and the stereotypical person was supposed to be like societally the hottest or most attractive person is usually not. I'm not that interested in. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, you look like everybody else. You look like everybody else, like legitimately.
Again, most people are not attracted to the societal normal expectation.
It's just like I don't know, but like also looks ain't really. I also get tripped out on how much we actually get hung up on looks, because I think everybody's like, well, looks are really people really beyond that. I'm like, I think people are really only on that because of status. Like, because I don't think that's really as important to people as they even think. I think they convince themselves it is. But I don't think that is really even the first and foremost. Because to be a buck with you, it isn't even the first and foremost of what like is most appealing to me. Like, and I haven't really like. I've had a lot of really attractive partners, right? And some of them are like stereotypically attractive, some of them aren't, right? But like it's never been because they're attractive, because like there's plenty of people also that are like the super high whatever like value attractiveness in this society, right? And I was like, it just never really appealed to me that much, versus it was just like, okay, cool, we vibe in and I'm like horny, you horny, woo woo, we're gonna make something happen. You know what I mean? Not even like crucial like that. And those things, it just trips me out how we like get so caught up in this like artificially created attractiveness, right? When really like most of us are just like, first off, aren't as vain as society wants us to be. Like, because society wants to be vain. It was like going to be all about attractiveness, all about what this person's accomplished, money, woo, 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 whatever. And I don't think that's how most of us work. It's not how I work, at least. And so I think it's all messy. But also, I think part of the being a romantic thing is why I don't like a lot of the dating. Go back to what I was saying. I feel like the aromantic thing is part of why I don't feel a lot of these courtship type maneuvering thing. I actively dislike them. So like, I'd rather be like single than try to jump through those hoops. I'm not doing it. It's fucking annoying.
I agree with you 100% about like, I have a similar philosophy about a lot of these romantic relationship things that you do. I just had to play. I didn't have to, but I did play the game for a little bit. And like, now I'm not, right? And it's the most liberating relationship I've had, right? I mean, stupid things like you guys have to sleep in the same bed. That like doesn't make any sense, right? Where like we've created a whole industry about shaming people when they're married for not sleeping in the same bed, where like you can buy beds where you guys can have suit instead of just sleeping in different, like he snores and you run marathons in your sleep, maybe not sleep in the same bed. But I use that as an example because it shows how much power and control this system has, where when no one will see you home alone, where you're not going to be judged, because occasionally you may have to explain to some people that you sleep in different bedrooms and people may think that's weird. You will sleep in the same bed and not get any fucking sleep. And that just don't make no fucking sense to me. No, but I use it as an example to show how much the system controls your view of what relationships are supposed to look like. They control it even when you're not paying attention.
No, I'm with you. I'm down with the separate bedrooms. Personally.
Separate bedrooms.
Here's the thing is, I like sleeping next to people I'm with when I'm with them, but I don't always like it. Sometimes I like to go just go in my own bed, be my own space. Sometimes I want to lay in bed and play some fucking video games and not fucking have to worry about it bothering you. And I just want to be.
Are you telling me that people like it when they have choice?
Oh man, you know, I hate to brag it to you. I know capitalism told us otherwise, but I don't think we all like walking in lines and just following everything.
It's nice to have a real authentic choice, right? Not a manufactured choice where you don't really have one. Like, having a choice about something is really freeing. It may actually be what freedom really is. Because at least if you're going back to our example, if you're in 2 bedrooms, you can have the choice. You know what you can also do? You can set boundaries of like having the other person have to knock, or maybe setting up quote unquote date nights where that person comes to your bedroom and you can like set some. There's all fun things you can do when you don't live in the same fucking room, because you are your own individual. And you should still get to be your own individual even when you're in a relationship with somebody, and that person should love that about you.
And look, here's the reality too. There might be times where you want to share a room with somebody, that one partner, but the next partner you might not want to, and it doesn't mean you don't care about them as much.
No.
Like for example, there's people that I've slept with that it would have been perfectly perfect for it to share rooms because we like the similar things and the aesthetic would be complementary, not like taken away. But there's other partners I've had where, oh hell no, because it's either my space or their space. There's no like in between because they just clash. Like the decorations clash. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, nah, they don't, because different vibes. Because I don't know. I don't always date someone who has all the similar tastes as me all the way around. I don't know about y'all, but that
would be boring. I already know what I like, and I experience what I like. I've got to have someone that is like, if you look at my room compared to my fiance's room, you would maybe not think that we date. Like, we're talking drastic differences. My room looks like I have like my altar, and then my room looks like an office with a bed in it. Okay, Alexander's room looks like you stepped into a museum in time. Like, it's like a sanctuary. So but having that space is so important for our communication and for our relationship.
So I wanted to be critical.
Yeah.
So I see people do that, but I actually want to be critical about this. So I'm down with separate rooms, but when people start if you're not like in a lifelong relationship, perfectly fine, whatever. But if you're tend to have like a lifelong or multiple years relationship, I think it's American opulence to like own 2 separate houses. Personally, I'll be real with you. You can have 2 separate sides of the house, but there's niggas out here without houses. So I just want to put that out there. I want to buck on that just a little bit because I feel like I've got an argument where people are like, you trying to control house. Like, no, I think it's opulent to own multiple houses and have 2 separate. You're trying to build a life with somebody, but live in 2 separate houses. That's fucking, you're consuming too much. It's not because you shouldn't be out of space, but you're consuming too much at this point. You know what
I mean? Agree. So. And then I'd want to know why. I'd want to know why we need, if we could have separate bedrooms, what is the justification for needing separate houses? Because to me, that maybe says, maybe there's something else in the relationship we need to be talking about.
Facts.
Because having separate spaces in a house and then being able to share shared spaces is, again, part of creating a relationship with somebody. It's like, you should be able to have your own space and then also be able to come to consensus about shared spaces. And if you're allowed to point where like we can't come to consensus about shared spaces, I'm going to be like, but why is that?
I'm not saying you were. I just wanted to say it because I've gotten an argument with people because of that. But like, we're like, no, I thought we need to have we need to keep separate houses. You know what I mean? Woo, boo, 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 boo. I'm like, yo, but. And I own 2, and the same person be like, I own 2 houses trying to get 3. I'm like, yo, you're over consuming. You're taking too much. But I'm not saying you were doing that. I'm not saying that you were advocating that, to be clear. So I just brought it up because it made me think of other conversations I had before. So
whenever I think of separate houses, I always just think of War of the Roses. I just feel like it's oh man. Everyone in the chat, you can check me if I'm not giving the accurate fucking depiction. I'm not exactly sure where in Europe, but in Europe there was I believe in Europe, king and queen situation, very toxic marriage, and they ended up armies were fighting each other, and they literally had 2 separate castles that were that they lived in, right, as they were fighting. So I when I hear that, I think, okay, are you guys on the same team? Are you guys on the same team at least? I don't know. Sometimes that's what my question is. And I'm not judging it at all. I'm just saying I would wonder that. I would think that. But again, separate bedrooms. But again, also at the same time, I'm allowed to wonder that. But do whatever makes your relationship work, as long as you are not over consuming. If you've got property, if you got 2 acres of property and you can afford to have 2 separate tiny homes on it, fucking do you, boo. Just don't let it exploit other people.
Facts. Don't let. And the thing is, like, I just got, I feel like it'd be different with the different times too. You know what I mean? If we had a time where we weren't over consuming everything, especially as Americans, I want to have that critique. But then again, that was a critique of them. So just that idea, because I've seen a lot of that idea becoming prevalent over like social media and stuff. But, I also want to retie this back to like our topic, because we kind of got a little, because we talk about a lot of different things. But I think it's connect, and I feel like they connect. But I want to feel like I want to like draw a line. I'm trying to figure out how to draw a line directly to how they connect, because I think about this. I think about how does that work for folks being aro or being asexual. How do these dynamics play into it that we were just talking about?
I think some of my realization of asexuality within my identity is what gave me the confidence to speak up in a relationship and be like, separate bedrooms. Like being able to understand that, like, hey, I need to set intentional space for intimate sexual time, and that requires this, and this. And being able to have those conversations up front and blunt, where my other partner can be like, oh, you know what, that works for me too. Or this works for me, or let's do this. Or even, again, I'm in a kinky DS dom submissive dynamic, so we add all of these things into our dynamic, right? Where like sometimes we do invite each other to dates, on dates to each other's rooms, right? Sometimes we do date night, play night, like in my room. Sometimes we're going to do it in their room, and like that adds a whole other dynamic that we get to play with. We can add, we're not in a what's called like a high protocol DS relationship. Our DS dynamic is a little bit more casual, a little bit more anarchist. But there are people who are in like what's called high protocol, which would be very hierarchical and I guess maybe a little, maybe the best, a little militarized in your domination, but is maybe the best way to explain it. But it's consented to. So like there are submissives that want to be in this relationship where they kind of are just directed around, and there's not very many pleasantries. Like if I needed my drink refilled, I may just like, right? And that might be like a high protocol where I don't have to say anything. Whereas in my relationship, if I wanted my drink refilled, I would say it like normally. I'd just be like, hey, love, would you mind refilling my drink? Right? Both things are still dominance. It's just that that's how I like to talk to people. I feel weird being like, service, because I've been a waiter and a server. It doesn't mean that that's weird. That's just that's how I like to express my kink and fetish. So I think being able to have these identifiers and being able to, again, connect them to your identity has helped me in my relationship of expressing my asexuality and how I need to be loved, or what I need in a relationship, or what I can compromise with, which again helps the communication and helps the sex. Let me just, if you don't hear anything, okay, communication, better sex, okay? You want better orgasms? Do you like orgasms? Try communication. Better sex. Did I mention better sex? Better sex. Try it. If I have to motivate people to revolutionary action by being like, anarchist sex is the best sex, we're doing it because it is. And anarchist sex doesn't mean it's all over the place, but it can be. It just means it's fucking consensual, communicated, intentional. Like, you guys don't even know what sex magic is. We could be all doing sex magic, making revolutionary shit happen in the metaphysical, but y'all don't want to communicate. Sorry, can you put that last one up again?
Yeah. What's that?
You make the relationship your own rather than ascribing to social prescriptions, consensual and mutually enjoyed. That's pretty darn cool. That's what it is. Yes, thank you, Lee Long. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. That is the basic thing of like, do your relationship the way you want to do it. And that's something we practice in kink. And that's part of practicing kink is saying, be you. This is a space for you to be you and do the relationship you want to do. And we're not going to judge. As long as you are not harming, as long as it is consensual, you want to you and your partner dress up as a panda and a fucking penguin. And that's how you guys like to get down and you're set, whatever, it doesn't matter. Do you. And it's an amazing thing that if you are authentically doing you, people aren't as judgy as you really think. And when they are, most of the time they're jealous because they're not confident enough to do them. to be honest. But
people be jealous of your freedom, and I'm not talking about because you're from the USA, because that's cap. But in every other way, when you do your own thing, the people are jealous of your freedom. Like,
why
you go out.
So mad at the queer community? Like, there's
a lot of them are in the closet.
Yes, because a lot of them are looking at us and they're mad. How dare you know who you are and express yourself freely when I don't and I can't?
Yeah,
I mean, that's part of that, and it's the same thing when you take control of your relationship. It's the state, it's other people in social groups, it's TV commercials telling you, no, don't do it like that. But like they just mad because you get in your whole ass life. Like,
oh, that's so sweet.
Y'all do realize how many people would cry tears of joy if they heard this? Oh, don't make us have. We don't like having feelings. Stop it.
Gassing us up hard right now. Hey.
What, like, and you guys get to enjoy. This is what happens when this happens to me. I get just as awkward as when I do it to other people. But thank you for that. I needed that.
Man.
Better communication, better sex. Yes, let's put it on a sweatshirt, okay? Anarchist, better communication, better anarchist sex.
Look, if we can get up to 100 views each time, I'll tell you, we'll make that t-shirt and put it on the merch store. How about that?
Good. And you know what? If we really want to be anti-exploitative, I will go to the thrift store and I will hand make those fucking t-shirts, okay? Like, I will fucking paint that shit on there and ship them out to people. But yeah, I don't know. Was there any other topics under this that you kind of wanted to make sure we touched on? I know sometimes you have some bullet points.
Well, I mean, I didn't have no bullet points this time because I figured, like, specifically, I was like, because we're talking, and I was like asking you what ones you wanted to speak about. So I was kind of looking for your lead on this one. Though I'm like on the A row spectrum, and like I said, it's still like realizing, I'm still understanding it myself, right? I'm still learning about myself when it comes to it. So I have a little bit I can add, but it's only limited, right? Because I'm still learning a lot. I didn't know that existed, and once I learned, like, oh, that is kind of me shit. Well, cool, that makes sense. But I'm like, so I mean, it's interesting. I do want to introduce the idea of flux, because like I was talking about with folks, like I believe in like flux, and when it comes to me and sexuality, and like I can flux from asexual to hypersexual, and I think for some people that's like natural. I know people like oh, that's just whatever trauma or whatever. I mean, it's like, nah, that's just my natural state. I'm sure that stuff can trigger my swings sometimes, but like that's not just because, but I don't know. I just wanted to like open it up for people to think about that it's okay to be fluctuate on how you are, not to be the same thing every day or every week or every month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because I think one of the things we love to do, and one of the harmful things about boxes, is you want people in boxes and expect them to stay there too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, and also if you leave it and people see it as a progress, they don't want to let you be able to go back to it because they think it's a regress versus this. No, I just fluctuate. You know what I mean? I'm not regressing. I wasn't abstaining from sex exclusively because of trauma. I was abstaining because that's where I was at the time, and maybe it was triggered by trauma at that time, but that's not what it is. And I'm not being hypersexual because of trauma. Maybe it was triggered by trauma at that time, but it's not. Other times I might be just asexual because that's where my body, my mind, my spirituality, my psychology is at that moment. Or I might be like hypersexual just because that's where I'm at the moment. It could be a million different reasons, but it's already that natural. And I want to like put that out there that's okay. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times people want to like have us be one thing forever and not change, which is actually the quickest way to lead to death is unchanging things. Unchanging things are example. I think a natural example of an unchanging thing, the symptom that lives forever, is called a cancer. You know what I mean? So I'm just.
Hey, you're hurting them. You're hurting them. He said he took us to church at the end. Look at the chat. They was like, hallelujah, shandarashka. Like, you taking them to church. They feeling everything you say. And they were like, yes, 100%. All of that. I was speechless. I don't even have nothing to say back. Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to hear more feedback from the chat if y'all can about your experience about ARO or asexual while we're here. We got like we could do like 30 more. You know, we're going for a little hour and a half, and it flew by. It feels like we've only been going for a half an hour, to be honest with you. But it's like, damn, we're already an hour and a half in.
We keep talking. Look, we like, we friends. Like, we cool. We have one of those intimate friendships. It's building. But like, our conversations, I feel like people are resonating a lot when we because we're able to give a lot of different perspectives. And I appreciate that about you. Sorry, my body's still reacting to what you just said. You might need to give people a moment before they're going to react. I don't think you just understand how much you just validated people's whole ass life right now, and how important that is to understand that you are allowed to fluctuate, to evolve, to fluctuate, to move this way. You're allowed to identify this way today and this way tomorrow. Like, you're allowed to revoke consent on things whenever you want. Like, you are allowed to do that. And when you get in a relationship, that's what you're signing up for. And I want people to understand that. If you think you're signing up for the version of the human you are seeing right in that moment, well, then I'm not sure you truly love that person, because you are signing up for all the versions that this human is going to give you during all the times at any moment. And that's one reason I'm excited. What are you going to give me? I don't care if it's positive. I don't care if you whatever it is. I just want to know. I just want to be there. I want you to want to share it with me. And so I just think, I think a lot of people are just going to be like, hold on, we're going to have to clip that. We need to clip that. I'll write it down. I'll clip it. Okay. Because that's something people need to hear so much right now, is that who you are, that's what existence is a journey to having relationships with people, to discover who you really are. And there's no destination. You're never going to run out of things to discover about who you are and how you want to fluctuate, and who you want to fuck, who you don't want to fuck, what's your favorite fucking color. I like this movie, don't like this movie. All those things are allowed, and please do that, because those are the beautiful, beautiful pieces of individuals that make you your own unique individual that can't be duplicated anywhere. So I just want to add that on, just for people, like, have some hope too. Please take that. It will give you hope in this times where you feel hopeless or alone. You're allowed to you're allowed. You are allowed. Who you are is allowed and is enough. So let me just double down on that. Just sitting here nodding along all of this. People need to hear this right now. People need hope. I keep, in conversations I'm having behind the scenes, I keep hearing in my spiritual space, I keep hearing that what we're dealing right now is a lot of people don't have any hope. And they don't have any hope because there's not genuine love and connection with humans or with their own self. They're not being validated. They're not being seen. And it's really hard to have hope if you don't have hope in yourself. It's really hard to have hope for the movement, for society, humanity, any of that. And I hope that we are maybe giving you guys some hope. And I hope you guys understand too that it's a whole ass process we do behind the scenes to even have enough hope, to even be coming on these lives about the future and humanity. And so if we do spend time loving each other, doing these relationship things, getting better at communication, it only helps the movement by having hope, because you need it, and knowing you're not going to be alone. Because I know there's hope, because even if we fail, I will not be alone. We will save people, and those experiences will be beautiful, and we're gonna make music, and we're gonna dance, and we're gonna fuck, and it's gonna be good whether we win or lose. Okay, so please have some hope, people. As someone who has also been feeling a little hopeless lately.
Yeah, man. Not only just have hope, but like, and this is also advice to myself. So if I look like I'm talking to myself, I kind of am. Find moments to have joy. Find moments to actually have experiences the value, which could be sex, but it isn't exclusively sex. And I'd say a lot of times it isn't meaningless sex. As someone who has had plenty of meaningless sex, like it doesn't necessarily that. So find moments of joy that you actually feel from the heart. You know what I mean? That you feel down here. You know what I mean? I'm not usually that type of person to say all that type of stuff, but I just gotta say that's for real though. It's one thing that that I've been telling myself to do as well, because I don't make enough space for it. I'd rather fight than have moments of joy most of the time. And I've been trying to critique myself on that. So I'll just share my own critique for myself with y'all, especially if folks are out there doing revolutionary shit. And especially goes to you, because I know we all like that. We all put the joy aside to fight the shit, but we got to make some space for it. Like, for real.
We got to make space for it. And also even maybe write the narrative of finding the pieces of joy in the fighting. Because I make this joke all the time. I think
we're good at that, though.
You don't think I'm going to be on the front lines with a big, huge strap-on dick fucking voguing with my gun. You are crazy, okay? I'm about to be queer as fuck on this battlefield, okay? So you going to have joy whether you like it or not. You're going to be fighting, and then all of a sudden you're going to look over, and my dick's going to be flopping around, and you're not going to be able to help but laughing while you're fighting.
See, but you know what I think would be funnier? If the barrel of your gun was the strap-on dick that was...
I know, but okay, so we're gonna have to figure out how to make that and how that works, how the bullets come out. Because I'm down. Okay, I'm down.
You can make just the barrel of the gun a strap-on, and you also could have the little what's it called, a sex machine thing from motherfucker from Dusk Till Dawn. You hit the button, and it just boom, pops out. A little Gatling gun.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, we need a whole line of anarchist revolutionary weapons made that are inspired from sex toys.
Hold on, wait. I bet you I can find this.
We need this. We've got to bring our revolutionary strategies together. Okay, the joy's got to come with the fighting. The sex has got to come in the strategy. We got to start bringing it together. We think these are all separate things. If you don't think in your anarchist community, if there's some kinky people, that you're not going to be like walking through the forest one day and not see some people fucking over in the corner because they enjoy nature, you crazy. That's the world we're trying to make. I know it seems weird now and you're like, that's so inappropriate. It's not. You'll just think it's normal and you'll be like, wow, they're really getting it. And you'll just move on with your day and go pick some strawberries. Like, that's the world I'd like to live in.
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh,
wait.
Go ahead. Did you find it?
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay, I'm gonna do this comment then. Lee Long said, "I'm low key mad we only get to meet online. Imagine how epic in person combos like this would be. Oh well, we'll make the best of things right." I would just like to give a little. I'm gonna put a little teaser out there. I am working on creating a space in which you can meet us in person and we can have these conversations in person. Long term for me. I'm working on in a little escape for people, for artists, for anarchists, but shorter term, we need to have things that the other side has, right? That side the right has, side that capitalism has. And I don't know why we don't have, where's our anarchist music festival? Where's our anarchist art festival? Why are we not creating these things so we can create spaces to have joy with people who have like-minded philosophies and ideas? And so if that's something you're on this live and you're like, I'd be interested, I'm an event planner, I'm a whatever else, I'd like to be part of the team producing those things or work on that, please reach out to me, because I'm only one person. And I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the people I reach out to, they don't get back to me. I think this is a good idea, but the people that have followings that are in these spaces I've reached out to, they haven't gotten back to me, and I need a team. I can't do this by myself. Now I know how to do it. I've created these spaces before. I've been an event planner for fucking 15 years. But if those are things you're interested in, please reach out to me, because I want to meet you, Lee Long. And I do this a lot within kink, where I meet people online and I figure out how to meet them in real life, because real life connection means a lot. So there's a little teaser. Reach out to me. Follow Disrupted Bodies if you want to hear more of that. What are you showing? Okay. Oh,
that's Pasha's gun right there.
I need this because I have another femdom that is our strap-on. She's literally the queen of pegging. She needs this. She's gonna design something for me. Thank you.
that is Posh in the revolution right there.
That is me. That is me. The leather jacket and everything.
We have just discovered the next meme I'm making. Oh yes, your head is going right here.
Oh no!
You know what I mean?
I'm a revolutionary meme already. That's hilarious. I take it.
And he even got all the leather too, so it's ready.
I know. The first thing I was like, and the leather jacket, yes. Oh, I need that. That's so great. And you know what I also like too? Can you put it back up for a second?
Oh, sure. Yep, gotcha.
I like because it's also a good like revolutionary like take on like the you know those things they actually used to put on women, so like other people like chastity belts, like old school chastity belts.
Oh shit! Okay.
Right? Actually, are actually made out of metal like that. I've seen them before and watched people use them like in a kink scene. But like old school chastity belts are like that, and I feel like it's a good allegory for like reclaiming the like chastity belts, and then it's like and like reclaiming the grab of the pussy. It's like, try to grab this pussy, I will shoot you in your fucking head. Like, yeah, like, sorry, yes. So yes, this is me. Make the meme. I'm maybe outing myself as who I am too much right now. Also, I'm impressed that you brought that up and you're like, this is Foster the Revolution. I feel very, you know me, but I feel very seen. There's a good example, people, in real life, how you see people is getting to know them well enough to do that kind of shit. And they go, oh, you know me. Please get me the strap-on gun.
Shit.
Oh, that just
it flips. It's awesome. I wanted to really bring the video, but I feel there's a slight chance of getting copyright hit for that. So like,
we won't. Let's not take the chance, especially since this was like such a good conversation.
And I just got monetized too, so they might be paying a little more attention. Or well, actually, I'm getting reviewed to get monetized. I finally hit the 4,000 hours thanks to the FD stream, where like.
Oh yes. Okay. Can we wrap this up by talking about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. And because I'm sure if you're in the chat and you watch the FD signifier stream, put some of the things that you felt about that, because that stream was so good and it was such a like. Whether I agreed with everything that was being said or not, it was such a conversation that needed to be put out there. And you are the people that needed to have it. Like your two perspectives needed to have that exact conversation. And I also wanted to, I know I told you this behind the scenes, but I want to say this publicly. I also really appreciate, as a revolutionary anarchist, the way that you pushed back on some of the things that he had brought up, because I'm not always, surprise, I'm not always the best with trying to change people's minds about things. Sometimes I get very frustrated. Sometimes I want to argue. Sometimes I'm like, and that whole conversation, there was like 3 or 4 key moments where not only did you push back and get your point across, like, and make your give your perspective, but he heard it, took it in, and I think is now processing a thought process change. And so, in a kind way, like in a way where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I think I would have been maybe more blunt or maybe a little bit. And I really just appreciate that, because people need to see more of that, see that we don't have to agree on every fucking idea. We need to agree on the overall arching thing we're going to do, move forward. And that's how you can watch men be real men. If we're talking about the manosphere, where they just have a conversation, hear each other, see each other, and both people learn and take something away, and everyone who watched it did too. So that conversation, I know we talked about the manosphere the last time, and I know that conversation talked around that, and I somehow have gotten, the YouTube algorithm is suggesting me manosphere stuff. I don't know what's going on there. I've been watching a lot of stuff about hip hop, and this video came up that was supposed to be about Nipsey Hussle. Is I'm saying his name right? I'm sorry.
Nipsey.
Okay. And so I clicked on it because I thought it was like another hip hop video. And then I 2 minutes in, I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm in the manosphere. Like, what happened? So that conversation was very important. And I just wanted to make sure to publicly give you your flowers and give a chance to just kind of expound on anything else maybe that you didn't, that you guys didn't touch on from that, or, and mainly just let you know, like that's the kind of shit that is gonna, give space for people to push back against manosphere shit. That felt real and authentic, and like this is what two adult men having a productive conversation looks like. And guess what? I don't care about like all the fucking left. We don't see that. They just want to fucking fight, and they just want to debate, and like we just don't see that. And so there we go. There's my rant.
So like only pushback is that I am gender fluid, so I just want to reinforce that. And I know.
I do understand that. I'm mainly speaking from the perspective of how people will see it.
Yeah, facts. Right? And like but here's the thing is that what I always acknowledge with my gender fluidness is that my experience how the world treats me is as a black man specifically. Yeah. That's how the world's always gonna treat me. I mean, there's things I could do to change that, but I don't necessarily the way I physically present was not. But I don't really have a desire to change that. I don't perform my queerness. I just am. You know what I mean? And so. Yeah. So I realized that. So I didn't really even took that way. No, I just wanted to clarify that people might not know that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
please clarify. Can I add one more thing on though?
Yeah.
I think that is a benefit. Like I know that you're like that sometimes. Again, I understand the not being seen. And I want to make sure you know that, like, I do see that. I was definitely going on a rant of talking about the perspective, but I do think that presentation benefits you because the people that you can talk to, the people that you can get into to then get to a space where you can then explain being your gender fluidness, where they would not hear that from other presenting people, right? I'm very aware that there are some messages people are not going to hear from me. Right? And that's okay. Maybe somebody else who is going to give that message to them will hear it from me, right? That's why I'm going to say it. And so I think it's really important sometimes to have people that do present that way. And I want to be able to validate their identity and then also still know that, like, hey, I appreciate that you can navigate these spaces for other people who can't.
Okay, I hear that, and I hear that, and it's weird because I'm a lot of times in some similar spaces to that. To be a buck with you, like this same thing with like I'm black, and I'm mixed. I'm a nigga from the hood, from the streets, but I'm not too hood. I'm not too street, but I'm street enough. And I don't know if I'm hood enough. I'm not always hood enough for every hood nigga. I'm gonna be real with you, but I'm street enough for most to be accepted.
You are street and hood enough for you. And that's
I know, but like, you know what I'm saying, but it puts me in this balancing act. And sometimes like with gangsters, a lot of times I'm trying to like also step up because a lot of my brothers were gangsters, but I also wasn't hood enough for the niggas. You know what I mean? This is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at them for it. You know what I mean? I get it. You know what I mean?
I think that's what makes
I think it's a lot of that position, period. Just like for a lot of queer folks, I'm not queer enough. You know what I mean? Same thing.
Yeah, look, my whole life. Okay, I like, trust me, I feel like I've had need a tattoo on my forehead. I like pussy too, like, because my whole life, like, I can't emphasize enough how much I relate to people don't see my queerness or people don't validate that. Even when I present masks, because of just my face, like even when my hair's short, people are still just like, oh, but your face, and I'm like. So I feel that deeply. And at the same time, I also know that there are spaces and topics I can talk about because of this. And so I try to take advantage of that in a positive way. And then I've also, like, I think that duality you're talking about, or like really that spectrum you're talking about, is what makes you beautiful. Like, is what makes you amazing and unique, is that you can navigate a lot of different social spaces, a lot of different diverse people and backgrounds, and like that. I think that's a skill. I think that's a talent, and I think we should maybe we can rewrite that narrative a little bit.
But that's in his good moments. In his bad moments is I hate everybody.
Yeah,
the good moments I'm navigating everything. The bad moments I'm like, burn all your social structures down, all of them. They're all trash. It's like,
we need to. I'm gonna clip that. Can we sample that right there? We need to do that 100% right there. We need that song. I need that song because everybody feels that at some time, and that's okay. Okay, just to let people know, it's okay to wake up some days and look at the world and be like, you know what? humans, we should die. You're not worth it. It's okay to feel that sometimes. It doesn't mean you're hopeless. It's just part of processing shit that's going on. It's okay to rage sometimes, go scream, break some fucking plates in an empty fucking yard, whatever. Please do that. That's a healthy process. And I want that song. I'm making a beat. I need you to do a song with that voice. It's happening.
But no, I mean, here's the thing: is I also on a side note. Okay, so I first I want to say it's conflicting. Society isn't worth saving, but humans sometimes show that they are.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Society, the societies we have need to fucking go. Like even with the little benefits we get from them, the benefits aren't worth the cost at all. Not even close. It's like, cool, I get this shiny thing, but I have to cut off my legs, my arm, my ear. Oh, they're gonna want my tongue next week. Like, nah, bro. No, I'm not. Not
wait that out.
You can have your shiny thing back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I want to say this though. Back onto the talk with FD real quick, because I want to also give FD their flowers. Part of it is that they're a really solid person that will like consider and take seriously the perspectives of other folks, and also see that and recognize that they don't know everything. You know what I mean? Just like none of us do. Like, I don't know everything either. Like, there's things like, you know, I try not to dismiss anybody I can learn something from. Don't get it wrong. There's some people I do dismiss because there's literally nothing I can learn anything from, because they're saying propaganda that I've heard a million times over and over again. And so I'm already rolling my eyes by the time I start saying it, because they're saying the same shit I've heard 1,000 times. But if it isn't that, if it's something that I just disagree with, but is new, or something I haven't had to think about a million times, I will absolutely listen. No, I'm gonna be butt, because I do dismiss some people. I'm not gonna ever say I don't. But when they're saying the same thing I've heard 1,000 times, I'm like, all right, bro, I already know. I can tell you what you're gonna say next. I literally can. Like, I can tell you before you say it, because I've heard.
I'm laughing because I relate. I'm laughing because I'm like, no, I feel that. Yep, I've been there.
But then there's also like these, but also like, you know, there's. I also know that I don't know everything. There's people gonna know more about things than me, and there's some fields that people are gonna know everything more than me. Like, you want to talk about how do we grow plants and botany? Yo, just tell me. I don't know shit. Like, I know jack shit. Like, teach me, please. I have no fucking clue. Like, I know you plant it in the ground. I know you water it.
Don't worry. I got some. I've got some friends that you in the next couple of years you'll connect with, and they some hood motherfuckers, but they also know how to cook and grow plants.
I know how to cook. Don't worry about that. The cook I got down, but growing the food.
I'm not saying you didn't know how to cook. I'm just adding, like, I'm just giving, like, they chefs and they grow. Also, that was something I was gonna say earlier. Quick tip. I know we said this on the Manosphere one, but I just want to add this in. If you can cook and dance as a man, if you're a straight cis man and you're like, I'm trying to get some, learn how to cook and learn how to dance. You will. And if you want a bonus tip, get into kink and learn how to tie rope. Okay, that's the best advice I can get you to having a relationship or just getting laid, and it will actually work better than the Manosphere. And if you'd like some more one-on-one advice, come to my channel.
This is for men, women, and queers alike. If you don't know how to cook, you're not an adult. So you can't call yourself a man or woman or otherwise, because you still just a fucking child. Learn how to cook. Learn how to cook. I'm not like, unless you physically can't, then that's fine, because you physically can't. But if you physically can and you don't know how, learn how to cook.
Learn how to cook things that you like.
And for those that don't know my history, my grandfather, when I was cooking for my grandmother after she had a brain tumor, tried to tell me, try to get upset, and like, real men don't cook, because I was cooking for her. And I was like, did you lose your mind? You like, what? I mean, and not in the not being neurotypical way. I mean, like, you just took your brain out and threw it away. Like, you threw it in the trash. Like, you're 80 and you don't know how to cook, nigga. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, he wasn't 80, he was in 70s, but still.
Oh my God, I almost spit my water out.
I mean, no, I mean, it's just, that's adulting. That's like the basics of adulting. That's adulting at every level of human society. You got to know how to cook. You got to know how to cook.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Yes, and particularly in that situation, the way you described that, you were just, what? Like, yes, and I don't let the fact that we was talking about the Manosphere and my brain maybe stuck in that confuse you guys about the way I've been gendering things. Okay, I have a heart for my cis men, just as much as everyone else. But like, but I got caught in the manosphere recently, and I was triggered. I was like, oh shit, I didn't. How did I get caught in here? Because like, look, I'm very much a dude bro as well. Okay, I'm gender fluid, and most of the time I'm more mask in my energy. So I had to start questioning myself of what have I been watching that I got sucked into the manosphere.
It's just because, look, it's because people don't want to talk about male issues. People want to act like they don't exist. People want to act like femmes and non-masked people understand it, or specifically non-cis masked people, or people who haven't experienced being a cis masculine person, that understand it when they don't, and it's okay, because just same way masculine cis masked people or AMAP folks, unless they are trans women, don't understand what it is to be women's struggle. Same thing goes both ways, and since that's not being addressed, the only field that is addressing that is fucking hip hop and manosphere, and so they of course start to connect. Just like you see a lot of references to hip hop, like motherfuckers, like interviewers, like No Jumper and shit, where they were talking to Kevin Samuels weird ass and shit like that. I mean, it's because people like there's a whole area where people aren't addressing the struggles of specific people because they just want to wrap it up into being that group being privileged, which is it's way more complex than that. Like it just is. Now I still have a hard time sympathizing with a motherfucker who's from upper middle class white neighborhood being like, "Oh, my life is hard," and that. Like, I still have a hard time personally sympathizing with it, but I'm sure I'm blind to their struggle just because I think their shit's privileged. You know what I mean? But there are also like things that, like, for example, where we see a lot of the black manosphere blowing up is because there are a lot of people that are like have had nothing and struggle hella and nobody act like they do, and so they're looking for something. And unfortunately, these problematic ass charlatans, because they're not even, because the dudes who are making it in the manosphere, they're actually making it. They're not going through none of this shit they're talking about. They just doing it because they're making a buck. They're grifters. You know what I mean? But it's there's a place for it, but there's a place for that conversation. And unfortunately, the only people that have grasped it are these problematic pieces of shit that is trying to exploit old patriarchal tropes and concepts as if they're a good thing. Old capitalist white patriarchal tropes as if they're a good thing. And it's just like, yeah, no, I mean,
there's not really money to be made in the other side's message, because one, I'm gonna be honest, as someone who's gone through this, when you are teaching the other side, which is authentic love and connection, all that stuff, there's an aspect that feels wrong to even like. I'm not gonna come take my class on how to love people more and communicate. Oh, this 6-part $1,500. Like when you are on the other side and you've seen that perspective, you just want to tell people like, oh my God, this is what real love is. Like you tend to feel even guilty charging people for something like that. Now, sometimes you have to, because it takes time and you have to exist in this world. But like some of the stuff I see them selling, like I'm just like, wait, are people buying this thinking this is a valuable product? Like, or like even like one of the videos I watched was like just manosphere shit on women, they're below us, we should be or dominant and control, and then skip to a commercial break where this man is like, do you need to attract women? This is how you do skincare for baby smooth soft skin. And like I was just so confused, because I was like, wait, but if we just so dumb and controllable, why you all doing so much? Why you gotta do all that to attract such a dumb, unpurposeful other human? But you over here doing whole skincare routines like fucking women to attract us. Like, just the whole thing don't make any sense, and just makes me sad, because it's a lot of insecurity. It's just a lot of insecurity. Like I think I watched 2 videos, and by the 3rd video of this guy, I almost cried, because I was like, wow, this is so sad what this person is clearly going through in their life.
Well, I think there's the thing is there's red pill and there's black pill. Like, if someone red pill perpetrates as black pill, and black pill perpetrates red pill, but like anything that's just like straight I hate women is black pill. Like the red pill is more like you got to. Women aren't honest about what they like. They like misogynists with money, and this is how you be effective misogynist with money. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what there is, and then there's like black pillars who just hate women because they, no matter how much they try to do the things the red pillars say, they've continued to have no success. Which most red pillars eventually start going towards black pill because they giving bad advice that most of them could never ever accomplish. And the thing is, what I will say is there is, if I'm honest, like a lot of, and I'm not saying women in this whole, but there's a lot of women who do reward those behaviors, and so that's what they see, that's what they perpetuate, and when they say it, and so like, oh, so they can point out to that, but it's like, yo, it's a type of person that believes the same thing that these fools believe, and yes, there are those, but like that doesn't mean they're right. That means they can teach you how to attract that type of person, which also, given the context of what they're teaching, that they're teaching you to value, and they're also saying that person values, would you attract that type of person, and the person they're talking about, they ain't never gonna value you anyways, but that they're not thinking that deep because they're so lonely. They just want any type of companionship, even if it's bad companionship. Yeah. Where I'm sorry, I've had enough relationships at this point in my life that I'm like, dog, like I'll throw away a bad companionship and be alone first, because that shit doesn't. But they haven't even had that to know that. A lot of them, you know what I mean? A lot of them haven't even had that to know that, and that's why I kind of feel bad for them, because my like weird looking ass has had enough relationships. I know that that I've had my own experiences, right? But I guess if I didn't have that happen to me, if I would have not had different relationships and sexual experiences, like maybe I'd be one of them. Who knows? You know what I mean?
I mean, from what I heard, from what I've gathered in my research and when I was listening the other day, again, it goes back to a lot of what we're all looking for. That the people in the manosphere need the same amount of validation and belonging as people in a queer community, right? And they're just not finding it other places. And this is a place where they're finding like-minded people who are validating their identity, their struggle through their identity. And yeah, it does. I feel for them in the way of like, I know this is the toxic behavior that's coming out, but I know that when you turn this camera off and you are not live streaming or you are not on a video, it's really sad and lonely. And that's where that's where my like empathy for that aspect comes in.
I'm not empathetic for the YouTubers, the streamers, because I actually disagree with you on that. They're not sad and lonely. They're perfectly content, and they're grifting. They're grifting because
grifters are narcissists, and narcissists hate themselves. So there's got to be a connection there of like, this is a fake confidence that is going on. These men are not laying down the pussy that they are bragging about. They don't have someone. They don't have anyone, like not even dude friends, that are really there for them. This is all Hollywood bullshit. It's all
that's fact. That's fact. But you take like Fresh and Fit, they're definitely hooking up with people, but they're hooking up only because they were able to milk a whole bunch of sad, miserable dudes.
Who? Like I'm telling you from a female perspective, who? You don't want to go back to the female tribe of people. No, like you're being outcast. Like, who is doing that? Let me tell you from the other perspective. There may be some girls who think, oh, this is getting me somewhere. But even if you are fucking to gain class status or fame, why?
I agree with you. I agree with you that it's not good.
Females, like that's like, so I think there's a misconception based on how confident in their shit that they are bagging numbers like that, because like no offense, but that is kind of insulting to a lot of women, like to think that there's so many women that are fucking these men that wouldn't be like, no, I'll be on their show, but I'm not gonna fuck him.
No, I mean, here's the thing is like, when it comes to like, there's still, capitalism is still a thing, man. When it still comes to clout, when it still comes to money and clout, people will do that shit.
A thing though. Like I don't know, like you don't.
Yeah, but you forget that they rich. You're forgetting that Fresh and Fit is rich. They rich off the scam.
It's not rich. Do we not know what rich means? Stop validating these people. That's a lie. That's not the truth. They're not rich. They are fake rich. Like half these fucking rappers. They're renting their cars. It's all rented. Let's not pretend. Okay, they're not rich. They're not rich.
Okay,
Please
for
stop
how
calling
poor
them.
I am, they rich. You bringing in 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 a fucking stream
That's not rich.
every day.
You lose all that money with just a coke habit for 3 weeks.
But they do a stream every day.
Yes, which
I
means
fucking hate these assholes.
They don't have shit going on in their life. If you had people to actually care about and take care of, you wouldn't have time to be streaming every fucking day.
Look, if we could have sex Sundays every day and make $4,000 to $5,000, you telling me we want to be on here streaming every day for $4,000 to $5,000?
No, I want to fuck and tie rope and make music. I have other things I know, but
we stream for 4 hours. The rest of the day we open. That's the best job in the fucking world. I'm fucking doing that shit 4 hours for I'm streaming. I make 5 bands.
Let me be for real, because I need to speak to my own privilege in this situation. I'm in a situation right now where I don't have any commitments to anything because I don't have to work a job. So I could understand if I was working a job and I could just do that. I do get that. But I also have done jobs like that where it's like, okay, I'm making all this money, but streaming every single day would be so exhausting for me. It wouldn't be worth it for me because I wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter that I was making that money because I wouldn't be enjoying it because I would be exhausted. Streaming every single day.
But here's my point. Here's my point of the whole situation. I think it's kind of a different point. There are people that will definitely fuck with them because they're a cloud of money. And so, but here's the thing that I want to point out. Because
free $4,000 a month. You think
no, it's not a month. That's a day.
For dudes that make $4,000 a month.
Posh, they're making that a day. $4,000 to $5,000 a day. So they stream every day, and that's what they make every day from just the donos. It's fucked up. I hate them motherfuckers. I am envious and jealous as a revolutionary. I'm like, no, we should be getting that, and we actually put it for something good.
I'm not. That's blood money, so I'm not.
No. Even better, because you know what? I'm not saying we should spend it on ourselves. I'm saying, but we'd actually do something with it. These motherfuckers get yachts, rent yachts out, doing shit to build their clouds and their same shit. And here's my point. This is the only reason I'm pointing this out. I'm not pointing out to glorify these pieces of shit. I'm pointing out to this. The problem is these fools have made their life. This is why I've thought a lot about this, because I'm about to make a fucking smoke session about Fresh and Fit specifically. That's what I'm focusing on specifically. I've been thinking a lot about how to address these fools. But they've been doing this and grifting their way into having success with women and success financially, right? You know how empty that would feel that you grifted yourself off of manipulating it, and the only reason anybody is there is because of this little thing you built. And you're so unlikable that nobody would ever like you any other fucking time. So even though they have all the things they're promising they can get you, which they can't get you, they just happen to flunk on it, partly because fucking Fit is a fucking fed piece of shit. But you know what I mean? If y'all didn't know he was a U.S. Marshal, fuck that piece of shit. But the whole thing is their whole empire built off of grifting people, and they wouldn't have had anything they have without it, right? It's not because their advice they're giving you that they have actually been able to get any of the things they have. It's because they've been able to con you into believing it, that you gave them enough resources and fame to bring it, because the world we live in is capitalist and vain. So
yes, I am not pushing back on any of those points. I'm pushing back on the respectability of women and sex workers, and your numbers you are giving are making us seem like this pussy is cheap, and it's not. Okay, nobody is throwing out pussy to anti-black men on a live stream that are very famous that anyone's gonna know about, or even for the amount of money you said. No one's doing that. And also, here's the other thing, because I'm a sex worker and because I do this, and because I know what's going on, okay? Half those women that you see him with are not there for any other reason than they are being paid, and they are fucking sex workers. I don't know what to tell y'all, but here's the reality of what's going on in the world. While you are sitting there and being like, oh my God, look at all the pussy he's getting. He paid for all of it. That's why I say he's not laying it down like he did. If you have to pay for it, does it feel like I laid it down and that your work, like all the teaching you're doing is working? Or did you pay a sex worker, which everyone can do? Stop being fooled, y'all. Please stop being fooled. I know some of the sex workers. Please stop being fooled. Okay?
Yeah, you're more talking about Fresh and Fit, but yeah. Fresh is the one that
I know some of the Fresh and Fit. I know some of the sex workers. That's all I can give. But I'm telling you, do not be fooled. Stop thinking. And if you're going to fight that, tell people the truth. Don't validate how much money they make or how much pussy they're getting. Tell them the truth. Those are sex workers and they're paying them. That's why they need to make so much money so that they can keep having women around them, because sex workers are expensive. It costs you $4,000 for us to sit our ass on your fucking show if we're hot. Like, this is how this shit works. So if you really want to fight it, and this passion is not like anger at you. This is just coming from like, this is the work I've been doing for years. Like, wake up, people. Half the celebrities you see, half the fucking famous relationships, half the fucking rappers, when you see them with women, they are fucking sex workers and they are being paid. Can you please understand that? Because if you don't understand that, you are, no offense, but you're being sexist by implying that amount of women are not there. They are there for these shit ass men, and not because they're trying to pay their bills too.
No, that's here's the.
Please validate.
No, I hear you.
Women are not doing that, because that does degrade us by putting those titles on them. It degrades women in general and sex workers who are like, no, we are not fucking him. People are being
I'm not disagreeing that there are sex workers there. What I'm saying is there are also people there for clout, because clout translates to money. I'm not disagreeing that it's about money at the end of the day, even if it's not like direct sex work.
I'm sorry, where are all the really famous women that aren't sex workers that got famous from Fresh and Fit? It's not working. So if people are doing that, then they're really fucking themselves over, and they are just ignorant.
But I guess, okay, hold on. I guess you have a point in that a lot of them have OnlyFans. But what I'm saying is, and also a lot of them pull sugar daddies off of their fans. So that's another thing. But regardless,
sugar daddies are not as big of a thing as people think that they are right now. Most people are just going to OnlyFans. Again, these are words and things people throw around with, but they're not in the industry. I have femdom friends that have actual sugar daddies that are worth millions of dollars. Okay?
No, I bet. I bet. Yeah, 100%. I'm not. Yeah, I bet. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying, like, specifically with these fools at the best. My point is that at the best moments, regardless of the sex workers, regardless of that, when they get attention at their best moments, it's still based off of grifting and still based off their clout and money. And if they weren't having their clout and money, it wouldn't amount to shit. That was my point of what I was saying. I wasn't trying to like defend them, but I'm saying, like, I'm trying to be like specifically to the dudes watching them. You're getting grifted and providing them their lifestyle.
Yeah,
that's
and I'm adding that by saying everything is a grift. So even the women that you think that are falling, that's a grift too. That's a lie. Grift means they're lying. They're bullshitting you. Okay. If you think that these women are not being paid behind the scenes, or a lot of them are not sex workers, that's what's going on. Like, just adding that. I'm adding that to what you were saying, so people know the reality. So people stop getting duped. Like, I'm tired of people getting duped. I've seen this happen so many times where people are like, yeah, so I saw so and so and I'm like, I literally know the sex worker they were with. that girl made $5,000 that night. Like,
yeah, and like
there's a whole ass other world going on here that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that too. Like, I agree with you about like the rappers and everything else too, because like we all know, like, I mean, let's be real. Like, you think Tekashi 6ix9ine got any attention because he was a good dude?
No.
You think that's, I know I'm using the most horrible person in the rap industry, but like,
I don't even think he got much pussy just for being famous, to be honest. I think people underestimate the power of, they overestimate the power of fame when it comes to women. Like, don't let Hollywood and rock and roll fool you. There's a lot of women out here that actually have a lot of value on their pussy, and they're not just given to people because people are famous. Like, that's a sexist ideology. You can see that, right? How sexist that is to think that women out here, like, that a man that looks like Tekashi 6ix9ine because he's famous, that there's just thousands of women out here just like.
I mean, I think here's the thing. Here's the thing. I will say groupies are a real thing. I'm not like they're not fake.
A real thing, but you're talking about a 1% of a population. Like,
Oh yeah, but I'm not saying, but my point is to show how much it's a facade in the first place. My point wasn't to dismiss the sex workers. My point wasn't to dismiss any of like the real struggles that happen. My point was to show how much, even when that is what's happening, it's a facade, and it's based off of us, not specifically me as an individual, but us as a people, giving these fools clout, giving these fools money, giving these resources. It's not because of the things they're saying. It's not because of the advice they're saying. It's because of the access to resources and the access to clout and fame. And one thing I want to say about clout and fame is I'm not saying that people, I want to say clout is worth at this point in society more than money most of the time, because it can bring you more money than not. And that's a fucked up thing about our society we're in. So I want to clarify, because I don't want to seem like I'm dismissing the thing you're saying, because I'm not. I'm not one of the things that's dismissing like the real ass sex workers that are being in those industries. That's not what I'm saying. I want to say at the most cloudiest and the most purest of their form, if they're not paying a sex worker directly, they're still exchanging their clout, their things, their trips, this ride on this yacht, this adventure paid for by these desperate ass men, these desperate, sad men, to sell these fools a dream. That's what I was trying to get at. And I just don't want it to, because I don't want it to feel like, or to be seem like I'm like trying to like dismiss the plight of sex workers within these industries. So I completely understand that and acknowledge. I have a lot of like friends that are also sex workers, you know what I mean? So I don't want to, it's really important to me that I'm very clear about that. That's not what I was trying to say. So,
no, I appreciate that.
Well, I was just trying to say, even at the dream they're selling of what it is still empty, and it's still just provided by desperate men wanting to have hope to have something that if they actually got there, they would realize they didn't even enjoy, but they'll never get there. So they're chasing this dream, giving these fools these money to make them live this fantasy that is still in the end of the day, probably most likely 100% hell. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when he looks, we're fit. Leave Fresh out of it, because we know Fresh is using sugar babies, is spending money. We know Fresh is doing that like a motherfucker. But let's say Fit, even if his facade is 100% what he really is, at the end of the day, when he looks in the mirror, he knows it's not because it's of him or it's who he is as a person. It's because of the things he got off of grifting a whole bunch of sad, desperate men.
Yes, I agree.
And also yelling at women in front of them, because this is stick.
Yes. Well, I mean, sometimes I can't watch the clips because it's unconsensual degradation. To be honest, I'm like, what is going on here? So it's kind of triggering as a kink person, right? And I want to add on my pushback. I agree with everything that you were saying, so I don't want it also to seem like my pushback was like disagreeing with that. I agree with everything you're saying. I think what I'm adding on is more like letting people know the depth of the grift. And also, like, some of their shit's expensive. Instead of spending $1,500 to have these men tell you something, you could just spend $1,500 on a sex worker. Like, $1,500 will get you a great fucking experience. Okay, like, when I say that, I want to try to break the illusion that people think that these relationships are real, right? And then also understand that, like, some of those sex workers might not be suffering. Like, again, I'm femdom. You don't understand the power and the psychology that a lot of good sex workers learn, so that they can be in those situations, and then they go home and they talk to their other sex worker friends and laugh about how fucking stupid these motherfuckers were, but they made $5,000 off of them, right? Or how small their dick was, or how, you know what, I didn't even have to take his pants off. It happened so fast. Like, you know, like, so there is what is the word? There is respect. No, that's not the word I want to say. Autonomy. There's autonomy in that, where when the perspective is that these are women who are not sex workers, who are just so enamored by the power and status of this, or need to be famous so badly, like, that to me takes a little bit of the autonomy away, but also doesn't tell the truth of what the illusion is. And so I was more trying to add on and, like, let the audience know this is the truth of what's going on. So please don't fall for these illusions, because if you try to replicate them, you're not going to be able to do it unless you can afford $5,000 sex workers. Also, still pay sex workers though. Sex workers are great. Like, is what I'm like. their work is needed. But also understand, like, part of, sorry, I'm gonna go on just a mini rant here. Part of what sex workers do in society that we do not get credit, or even validated in at all, is these shitty men. Okay, some that are a little gropey, a little salty, some that are just assholes that have no personality. Sex workers take the brunt of that. So a lot of women who are not sex workers, I'm not even just say women, sorry, just sex workers in general. Let me stop gendered at this point. Sex workers in general, we actually take a lot of the brunt of that for money. Okay, there are less assaults in society because of sex workers. Okay, because those people have an outlet to pay us to explore those things under a consensual space where that person where the sex worker is educated and in control of the situation. And so something that I think people forget about, and in the overall shaming of sex workers, is that situations like that, you should actually be like, thank you to the sex workers who are taking on that blunt, like that fucking bullshit men, and making sure they're satisfied for the money so that everyday women don't have to deal with them. To be honest, because the sex workers oftentimes are prepared, because we deal with assholes all the time. That's part of the job. And so just, again, a little bit of knowledge. This isn't not critiquing anything. I'm just letting you guys in on behind the scenes of what we do. This is a lot of what we do, is that the more sex workers they pay, the less everyday women they can abuse with their bullshit.
Yeah, but at the same time, fuck the idea that sex workers have to go through abuse for more privileged people.
They're not being abused, though. There's a difference. We consented. We know what we're doing. I'm not being abused. When I've been with a client and they're an asshole, I'm in control of the situation. I'm not being abused because I consented to being there. When you are just an everyday woman and you think you're going on a podcast to just get famous, and then you get unconsensually degraded, that's a completely different situation.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it so much for you as for anybody that might hear this at any given time, because I don't want people to try to like take from this, and I definitely know this is not what you mean, but I'm worried about what people hear is that it's okay to abuse sex workers. I don't want anybody to hear that fucking shit.
Yes,
because I'm gonna be buck. If it happens to one of my homegirls and I find out it's you ain't gonna like what happens to you. You know what I mean? So the thing is, be very clear, and I'll be very straightforward about that.
That's not what
I know that's what you're saying. I'll be very clear, but but I just, because I can hear someone hearing that from it, is why I was saying what I was saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I want to and I do want to clarify. It's not abuse. It's that in those situations, they can explore their fantasies in a safe space with people who are in control, so it doesn't get to harmful abuse. Maybe I may let me put it that way so people don't think that. Yeah. But sex workers are aware of this. Okay, this isn't like we're aware that, because we joke about it. We say, you know what? Let's stop making porn and doing sex work for a year, and let's see how society likes that. Let's see how much we are taming people's fetishes so that they can continue to do their job and not be grabby assault. I'm not always even talking about rape, just assaulty assholes. But it doesn't mean that we're standing in, we're being like, don't assault them, assault us. No, we're not being assaulted. We just have more control of the situation, and because they're in that space, they can explore whatever they want to do without it getting to that point. Hopefully that makes sense. I talk about this a lot on the MP experience and Disrupted Bodies when I talk about sex work, and the psychology behind people who do sex work. I have a few videos too talking about sex work after the revolution, because apparently people think that that's not going to exist, but it is. It's a lot of healing. It's a lot of connection stuff that people are denied, right? And yes, even assholes in life, even dickholes, even narcissists need human connection. And yes, that human connection can help them not be as fucking manic or raging in an everyday society. And that's more what I meant. And that didn't necessarily, this was definitely a tangent, because again, I am a sex worker advocate. But I just think it's important to understand, because there's so many misconceptions about what sex workers do.
Also, on response to my end of it, I wanted to say also for everybody who's watching that is anybody, men or women or queer, it all applies to all y'all. Have sex workers back. You see them going down, like have their fucking back for real. I just want to say that out loud because there is. And the reason why I get hesitant, then what people would hear from it is because there is a lot of violence happening with sex workers, and I want to we need to actually have their back. And so much of people not caring is a fucking problem. And so, sorry, it's good personal. It's not personal for me because it affects me directly as it's me, but it's personal to me, but it affects people I love directly, and so I just get really weird about. Anyways, so
no, I do too. That's why I got very because almost every single close friend, people I fuck with are sex workers or are femdoms or queer, trans. That is my. I don't think I even have a straight friend. Not on purpose. That's just the people that I'm around. I've been behind the scenes, and I also I know what we go through. I was a fucking sex worker for a decade. I'm not even necessarily retired now. I've just graduated to teaching. Again, it goes back to what we were talking before about just communication and seeing people. And the more you understand people, the more you can empathize for them. So I know somebody said, Lee Long said, that's some damn good insight. Not a lot of folks would appreciate that about sex workers. And it's that's why I try to talk about it when I have platforms to talk about it, so that the more you understand what other people are going through, the more you can empathize, and then you can correct the lies from the colonizers, from capitalism that have put out there, because they want you to think that these people are deviant criminals. And the thing is too is I have so many people don't know how many of their own friends in real life, not OnlyFans, in real life go see sex workers. People don't talk about it. So yeah, anyways,
you don't necessarily know out of all your friends how many people are sex workers too.
Are sex workers, yes.
And I'm not talking about OnlyFans or digital ways. I'm talking about actual sex workers, they do prostitution, put it that way. So you know what I mean? And anyways, so I think we would have got pretty serious at the end.
Yeah, no, but that was a good tangent. Thank you for I really appreciate you kind of working us working back and forth through that, because I think watching that back will be good for everyone, because I think we enlighten people about multiple different topics about sex workers. But I also really appreciate your perspective, and I really appreciate hearing people that are not sex workers that identify the way you do speaking up for that, because we need more of that. Sex workers are always speaking up for themselves, but we need allies just like all the other marginalized groups of other people that are hey, we need to respect these people and the work that they do. So thank you.
I mean, of course, for the fact that I got people I love that are sex workers, but also at the same time, lumping solidarity is something I'm all about. So lumpen proletariat, which would put us all in the same class background, and we should have each other's fucking back first and foremost, because if we don't have each other's backs, then we know none of these other motherfuckers are going to. So it's just I think that's so those. My two very invested reasons feeling the way I feel about it, but I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna make some mistakes too, because I'm not a sex worker. I'm gonna say some clumsy shit sometimes. So if I did during this conversation, I also y'all feel free to call me on it, and I'll feel free to really seriously think about what I said and how it impacts people and make changes to what I mean. But it's important to me. So
definitely share your perspectives in the comments with us, and I appreciate that saying. And yeah, I'd love to hear other people's perspectives as well, or if there's questions or other topics within there that people would like us to explore, just let us know in the comments, because it's something I can talk about. I can talk about anything for a long time, but it's something I'm also very passionate about. I just want to add in, I think that's one reason why me and BP connect, is because I'm lumpen first. I don't give a fuck. That's decisions being made. The focus on the audience I'm focused on, my work is focused on, because that's who I intersect with. I intersect with all of those identities, and I think those are that's the most revolutionary demographic, and I call them the forgotten or forsaken, and that's who I'm here for. That's why I wake up every day and be like, oh, I don't want to, bitch, get up and do this, because there's people in the, that are also lumpen that are suffering more than you, and you got time and energy. So I just want to add, like, I think that's one reason why we, no matter what me and BP may disagree about, okay, we're here under the idea that the goal is, the focus is a lumpen and overthrowing the state. And because we have that is what leftist anarchy is. We are diverse in thought and collective in action. And that's the action we're going to. And this is the diversity of thought. And there you go. There's a demonstration of anarchy and also how you come to consensus. Just in case you forgot about what we doing here, okay? We sex, church, Sunday, healing, but like also we anarchists, we trying to overthrow the state, and that's how this works. And guess what? I don't know if we're going to be able to create an anarchist society if people don't know how to communicate, since you got to do a lot of talking to come to consensus. Do you not, BP?
I mean, yeah, we do talk a lot.
We talk a lot, so we better learn how to communicate while we're doing this revolution.
All right. Well, I think we actually a little over time.
This
so
was great, though.
Everybody, like if you can, also stay after and sound off in the main chat and the comments, and then bump this in the algorithm. Feel free to share it and wherever you feel like sharing it, and feel free to subscribe to Overthrow Media. If you're not subscribed, feel free to go over and check out Posh's Disruptive Bodies, Disruptive Philosophy. And I feel like I'm forgetting one, but they have it already. So
you got it. This is my kink channel. Make sure to tell people about your music.
Also, yeah, please check out my music. You can find some of the videos on here. You can also go to Big Villainous on any of the streaming sites, or Villainous_music on Bandcamp. Also, you can find me on Instagram there, Twitch on Twitter, what all that good stuff at Villainous_music. So, yeah, but if you looking on streaming, it's Big Villainous, as you can see the name right there, spelled up there in the corner. So, Pete, subscribe, add me some playlists. I think you'll like my music, because I got some bars, man.
They got some bars. Y'all, I checked the bars. They got them. Okay? Go have some revolutionary anarchist sex, y'all. Or don't. No matter where you are on the asexual spectrum. Go do you intimately with other people. This was great. Thank you. All
right, y'all. We about to get out. Thanks for rocking with us. Deuces.
Awkward sound off.
Okay. It's gonna take a while. Oh my god, failing at this. Oh, I'm failing.